Hello and welcome to the Impact Show. It is a great pleasure to be here with you guys for this show. I'm your host, Samuel Ikanwini Kimwin. If you have not met me before, I just want to say a great big hello to you. And if you have come across me before, then there's even more value in store in tonight's show. What I'd like you guys to do, just to get yourself comfortable on the show tonight, is just throw a comment in the chat, whatever that comment may be. If you've been here before, just let us know I've been here before. If you're absolutely new, just write the words new, the word new, N-E-W, in the chat so we can know that you are joining us for the first time. It is a great pleasure to be on the show tonight, to share with you guys a whole bunch of things that we've got in store for tonight's show, but not only the things we've got in store for tonight's show, but also to see the development, progress and growth that you guys will get in your property journey as you engage with the content and the sharing that we usually provide and deliver on the show. So without further ado, as I've mentioned, guys, let's know in the chat if you're new, if you're here for the first time. I've got Earl, who said he's absolutely new. Welcome to the show, Earl. Great to have you on. I hope you have your questions ready as it pertains to property, and if not, that's cool. You're still going to get value from those who do have their questions, who will be calling in, and those who would basically just be asking in the chat. If you are new to the show, just like Earl, why don't you write the word new in the chat? If you're someone who's been here before, feel free to write the words been here before, so we can get to know exactly who's on the live show tonight, so we can start adding value to you. Now, tonight's show is going to be extremely interesting. I can't even say the word extremely enough, because we've got a whole bunch of things going on the show tonight. I've got one piece of news I'm going to be sharing with you guys, which is interesting because it connects with something I shared with you guys a number of weeks ago on one of the strategy and the storm shows. And a number of weeks ago, I was saying to you guys that, look, there are certain components, certain free money that's being thrown out into the ecosystem right now as it pertains to property, which some people are saying you're going to get away with, in terms of it not necessarily having a negative bearing on you or on us as property investors. But one of the funniest things is very quickly, a lot of these mechanisms, these free money tactics that are being given out, are actually being clawed back in their own sophisticated ways. And this is one of the things we're going to be talking about on tonight's show. So if you're one of those people who thought the free money was too good to be true, it might just possibly be the case. But we're going to be talking about that in a little while. Now, what I want to encourage you to do, as I've said, if you're brand new to the show, feel free to write the word new in the comments. If you've been here before, just write the words been here before, so we know that you've actually been on the live show before. And if you are new, another great thing, let us know in the chat what you are actually trying to get out of the show. You know, we usually go for a minimum of an hour, you know, adding value to the property community, helping you guys understand how you can move forward in your property journey. So let us know what you're actually expecting to get out of the chat. We are here for you. Okay, we're not here for ourselves, we are here for you. This show is all about adding value to the community. So if we can add value to you, that's the name of the game. That's what we're here for. Now, what I'd love to do very quickly is also ask you guys, if you've been here before and you know this show is going to be packed with value for you, as I know it's going to be, to hit the like button. Okay, let the YouTube world know that this is the kind of content that people not only should but need to engage with in order to move forward in their property journey. Side by side with that, allow the YouTube world to understand that this is the kind of content that YouTube needs to be showing to more and more people, so people can move forward in their financial futures and change their lives, because that's what it's about. It's about living the life you desire to lead. Now, with all that being said, we are close to 5 minutes in, and what better time is there for us to open up the phone lines? So let's just open up the phone lines straight away. Phone lines are open, as you can see, guys, right up there. Feel free to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Be a part of our community. We recently just hit 200 subscribers. I think 220 is the current count. Imagine that, 220 people want to be notified every single time we go live, want to be notified every single time we drop a new video. So you know what, guys, I extend my hand of gratitude to you all and just say thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for making our community one that is growing and flowing with value that we desire to share, and that we're going to keep sharing, because that's what we do. So again, guys, phone line is open. Feel free to take full advantage of the phone line. Call in number 0330 606 0403, and the access code for tonight's show is on there also, 6959 If you haven't hit like already, feel free to hit like. If you haven't hit subscribe already, feel free to subscribe and become a part of our community moving forward in this property endeavor and in your property game. Now, guys, we have some interesting news to share, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. I'm just gonna load this up right now for you guys to see, because I want the value to be thrown in your direction today. I don't want you guys to have to wait for any of the value that we have in store for you guys today. I just want you guys seeing the value, understanding the value, and taking your property journey to the next level, because that's exactly what this is all about. This is the reason we started the Strategy in the Storm show. And this is the reason we're going to keep pushing things forward in order to help people. So first and foremost, let me give you guys kind of, for those of you who are new, I know Earl's already said he's new, so I'm going to share this for those of you who are new. The way this show started, okay, the way the Impact show actually started was out of necessity, it was out of need, okay? So there was a whole scare, palaver, etc. with the coronavirus, you know, and then straight after that, I had a number of my coaching clients, property strategy coaching clients, reach out to me and say, Samuel, I don't know what to do about my tenants. Samuel, I don't know what to do about my current property sourcing strategy. Samuel, I don't know what to do about how I can keep growing my business in the current climate with lockdown being introduced, etc. And what basically happened is, with all of these people asking me question after question after question, I said to myself, look, I want to do what I do. I want to provide the answers. I want to provide strategy. I want to provide insights and teaching and training and support to these people. However, I can't do it sustainably in the fashion that it was taking place as a result of the current climate. So what I actually said is, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to jump on YouTube every single week. Okay, we're going to do a live show. The show's going to be 100% live. I'm here to help you. And each of those coaching clients, as well as, you know, the wider YouTube community, will have access through means of the telephone line, through means of the access code, in order to ask any property questions they have, and we would effectively strategize with them through the specific storm. So this is how we ended up having the live show, the Impact show, and specifically this series, which is known as the Strategy in the Storm series. So guys, if you're brand new, what I want you to understand is this is here for you. This show is here for you. It's not here for me. It's here for you to get value, for you to move forward, for you to develop in your property journey. All right. So guys, this is all about you, your development and your growth, and how I can potentially support and help you in that. Now, what we usually do is we do usually share our disclaimer. I will read out the disclaimer. It says, all information provided and results given are exemplary. Each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent strategies being used, and we advise that you always seek legal and financial advice from a qualified professional if you choose to take on any of the advice, of the insights, of the strategies that we share with you. Now, the reason we want to do that is because legally, we just want to make sure that we are sharing information appropriately and that you are doing your own due diligence before you take any action in regards to what we're sharing with you. So that's what this is about. All right. Now, I believe we got our first caller in already. So I'm looking forward to jumping on the phone line. We'll go into the news segment in a little while. And those of you who have, you know, needs or things you want to strategize through, feel free to call us and we'll be able to go through that with you as well. So whilst we're doing this, let me get the phone line on and let's see who's calling for our show's first caller today. Okay, let's see if we can get this up and running. Hello, good evening. Caller 9706.
Hi, guess who? It's Yogesh.
Ah, it's Yogesh. How are you doing, Yogesh?
I'm okay. If you've got other callers, I'll keep mine short. Don't worry, I don't want to monopolise. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, Yogesh. Like I said, the show is for you guys, okay? So there's no feeling you need to scrimp, no feeling that you need to keep the call short. Just quickly, I'm going to ask those of you who are viewing, I know last week we had an issue with people hearing the callers that are calling in. Can everybody just let me know in the chat if you can hear Yogesh? If you can hear Yogesh, just say, I can hear him loud and clear. If you cannot hear Yogesh, then also let us know. I'm sure they can hear you, Yogesh, but let's jump in anyway. So, Yogesh, how can we help you?
So this is a different issue. Balancing your time management, particularly against your family, young kids, wife. It never seems like you've got enough time for them, let alone your job and your property business. And it would be helpful if I could get them, well, my kids don't understand, well, they do and they don't, but my wife is kind of just sees me sucked away from the property business sucks me away from family time, and she's probably right about it, but I don't really know how to resolve that conflict.
Okay.
How you create more time, or how you make sure you have enough time for everything, really. Yeah, a general question, but there's a tension in my life, so I brought it up.
All right, that's powerful. So, guys, if you cannot hear Yogesh, I haven't seen any comments coming yet as to whether you can hear the caller or not. But Yogesh is the caller. Yogesh has really asked what I think is an extremely powerful question. It's a question I had to battle with very early in my property journey, not only because I was interested in having a family, but side by side with that, I started actually growing my family whilst growing my property business at the same time. And I had to learn how to manage time, because when that all started for me, I was also working full time. So some of you that are watching this might be in that predicament. You might be married, you might have a spouse. For some of you who really know me, you know that my real first primary goal when I started to get into property was actually to get my spouse out of her full-time job. So she was a full-time teacher, and she's still a qualified teacher, but as a full-time teacher in the primary schools, again, it's a very, very labor intensive, very, very psychologically draining environment for someone to work in. And I always knew my wife wanted us to have children. She wanted to really be a real solid mother to our children. So because of that, she was very keen for me to get out of my job. I was very keen for her to get out of her job. So Yogesh's question specifically is, how do you manage your time between your property business and all your other activities, predominantly obviously child rearing, looking after your children, and helping them to come on board, helping your wife to get on board, etc., etc. And there was another element to Yogesh's question, and he was like, how do you find time to do it all? Okay, how do you find time to do all? And this is the powerful thing. You've got my wife in the comments. She's already said, great question, Yogesh. So obviously, Yogesh, you can tell that is an absolutely fantastic question. So let's dive right in. Is that okay? Can we dive right in, guys? Let me know in the chat if we can dive right in. Just write the word value if I can dive right in. Yogesh, can we dive right in?
Yeah, you're bang on the money. So yeah, please do. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's start with this. First thing is, I'm going to answer the direct question that you asked. The direct question that you asked in light of your whole question was effectively, how can I do everything? And you know the answer to that. And if you don't know the answer to it, you know me. I'm Samuel I Can Win. I'm going to tell you how it is. You cannot do everything. And that's the first realization we all need to get. I remember when I was young, I used to smoke, had this bad habit. I was a smoker. Okay. And again, if you're a smoker, it's not saying it's a bad habit for you, but it was a bad habit for me. And the funniest thing that I realized is I couldn't give up smoking until I got to a place in my life when I realized that it was not for me and I was addicted effectively. And this is the same with any other drama, trauma, stress, problem, complication, challenge we have in our life. It all starts from a place of acknowledgement. So the first thing you need to acknowledge, Yogesh, is the same thing I needed to acknowledge when I started my property journey as a husband, as a full-time employee, as someone who wanted to get my wife out of her workplace and basically change our situation so we could have real financial freedom. The first thing I needed to realize is I couldn't do everything. And when I realized that, one of the first things I did is I worked in my property business towards getting out of my full-time job. Okay. Now there are lots of people out there who say they're doing that. Okay. And I'm going to take my hat off to them. My hat's here. Okay. I'll take my hat off to those people. There are lots of people who say that what they're doing is working towards getting out of their full-time job with their property income or side hustle or whatever they're doing. But look, I'm going to come here and I'm going to spill the beans. The truth is, most people are not, okay? And how do I know most people are not? I've been coaching people for a number of years in the property space, helping people to become financially free. And I'll tell you one thing, there are so many people I've coached who financially from property have already made the amount of money that their actual income provides, and they still don't leave their job. Okay, they still don't leave their job. Why don't they leave their job? I could go so in on this because I spend so much time coaching people around this specific field that I'm talking about. But why don't they still leave their job? I'll tell you why. Okay, and this is one of those answers, one of those insights which is worth a whole lot more than just your time being on this live show. So I'm gonna drop it for you because I love adding value. I love sharing with the community. The reason many people do not leave their jobs has got nothing to do with the money. It's all to do with the mindset. It's not the M that we think it is. It's not the money. It's the mindset. It's the fact that no matter how much money you make, if you are convinced within your mind, if the subconscious mind believes you need a job, you need to have a place where you go and find your significance in other people's eyes, etc., etc., I can guarantee you it doesn't matter how much money you make, you're staying in the job. Whether it's a dead-end job, whether it's working in McDonald's, again, this is no pun on McDonald's. This is not saying if you work in McDonald's, it's a dead-end job, but it doesn't matter the level of the job, the cadre of the job, the salary level, all of that stuff doesn't matter. The reality is, if you haven't got the mindset to leave a job, you will never leave a job. Okay, you might leave it for another job, but you're not leaving it for your more sustainable income. Now, the reason this comes about, and again, I'm gonna be very candid about this. The reason this comes about, and I know this because I worked in education for close to half a decade. The reason this comes about is because we are indoctrinated, we are taught, we are educated in our UK school system and many of the other world school systems which follow after the UK, who are trying to be like first world nations. But we're actually taught that we need a job in order to have a position of significance. It's drilled into our mind. So as a first point of call, just coming back to your question, Yogesh, I want everyone who's watching this to understand I must first acknowledge my problem, my drama, my situation, my challenge before I can do something about it. So the first thing we need to acknowledge is very, very simple. I cannot do everything. And the moment you acknowledge you can't do everything, you start kicking into what I love, which is called prioritization mode. Prioritization mode is when you start to classify and clarify with yourself what are your priorities. For me, I homeschool my children. I was doing that way before lockdown. For me, I run my own business. I was doing that way before lockdown. For me, I work from home. I was doing that way before lockdown. So when the world starts to shake and the whole world starts to work out what they're doing and salaries become furloughed and people start having to stay at home and start having to spend more time with their wives, more time with their children, etc., that's not uncommon for me, because I was already doing that, because I was already living my life on my terms. So I want people to understand, to start with, you have to get to that place of prioritization where you start to understand, okay, these are my priorities. My family is my priority. My wife is my priority. My children are my priority. Because my wife's my priority, I'm going to take my time to work more on my property business to get my wife out of her job, for example. Okay. And again, your statement might be completely different. You know, there's one particular coaching client who comes to mind as we're talking. She is working on her property business 10 times harder since I've started coaching her, because she started to understand that her real desire has nothing to do with her. Her real desire is she wants to get her husband out of his job where he's working in a labor intensive environment. Okay. So that's where we start with. Okay. Has that been helpful to start with, Yogesh? And now hopefully, if it has been, we'll go into the main meat of your question as well, how we actually start managing time. Yeah?
Yeah, it definitely has. So I guess my dilemma is my kids are young.
Yeah.
People say when they grow up, you miss them. And so this is conflict between investing my time to build up a business versus investing your time with the children, which if you don't do it now, they're older and too late. That's the conflict that's got in my head. But
Excellent.
yeah, you definitely hit. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So the only reason I can do that with you, Yogesh, and I'm going to be so transparent, okay? No need to beat around the bush. The reason I can so excellently do that for you, Yogesh, is because I was there myself. Okay, I was there exactly myself. The exact same place you described, same place many of my coaching clients have been, same place, you know, many people I meet are. I've been there, so I get it. All right. So let's go into it deeper now. Now, you're totally right. People are going to say to you, oh, you know, if you don't spend time with your children now, when they're older, you would have lost the time. Look, time you can never get back. This is one thing. Again, this is going back to the concept I shared earlier. It's not about the first M, money. It's about the second M, mindset. When you have the right mindset, which again is something we coach people and help people on, you start to understand something very simple. You start to understand that many of the fulcrums, many of the concepts, ideas, philosophies we've been given to believe are of importance are actually, in many cases, of secondary importance to other concepts which we've been led to believe are not very important. So, for example, a real clear example for everyone to understand what I'm talking about is the concept of money, okay, and the concept of mindset. Now, with the right mindset, you will understand that money is a resource that, in a way, you can say it's an infinite resource, okay? since we've been in this current climate with lockdown, you've heard a lot of people talking about what's happening with our fiat currency. If you haven't heard, basically, long story short, money is just being printed. People are having a good idea. Oh, we should print more money, and printing money. Okay, it's not the first time it's happened. It's happened many times before in the centuries. But the point is, money is an infinite resource because it's a figment of your imagination. Time, I can guarantee you, is not a figment of your imagination. Time, as the Englishman says, waits for nobody. Time is a finite resource. Because time is a finite resource, I want to encourage you. Like, let me even do this because this is even easier. People pay me to coach them because they understand time is finite. They understand, look, in 12 months, I could do this to become more successful in my property business. But to be honest with you, working with Samuel for 12 months, I'd be able to supersede what I could do maybe in 12 years, supersede what I could do maybe in 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, depending on the person and their capacity and their knowledge base, etc. But the point is, it's the mindset realization that time is the finite resource. So then you start to learn ways or look for ways to leverage the time. Okay. Now, I'm going to be, again, a bit transparent. For me, I'm talking about for me. Okay. So nobody get offended. I'm talking about for me. Please hear what I'm saying. For me, working a 9 to 5 job as a teacher trainer, which is what I was a master teacher and a teacher trainer, working in a full-time job as a teacher trainer on a salary of 50,000 a year was a waste of my time. Okay, now that's a very strong statement to make because there's people out there who don't make 50,000 a year. There's people out there who would say, I would love to be in Samuel's position. I've got close to 5,000 Facebook friends. Okay, so I've got people who are Facebook friends from all over the world. People in countries in the Philippines, in Africa, people who reach out to me and say to me, oh, Samuel, you know, I'm encouraged by what you're doing, etc., etc. And let me tell you something. Many of them would love to have what I had in my 9 to 5 day job. Let me tell you something. I did not wake up early buzzing about going to work. You know why? Because it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of my time. Yes, I was adding value to young people. Yes, I was adding value to other teachers. But the reality is it was a waste of my time, not because of on the surface it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of my time because deep down it was a waste of my time. It took me away from my family, took me away from my wife, took me away from my children. These are the reasons, because I can prioritize. I can now see that if I'm doing something taking me away from my higher values, this thing is a waste of my time. So that's the first thing. Again, going back to the principle we've shared already, Yogesh, you need to start to prioritize what's of importance to you. The moment you start to figure out what's of importance to you, the next question is, how do you hack that? How do you hack the things that are most important to you to become at the forefront? So I'll give you an example. Because spending time with my children is of extreme importance to me, how do I hack it? I start to homeschool my children. Okay. By homeschooling my children, I guarantee I spend more time with them. Now, am I advocating homeschooling? Well, yes, I'm an advocate of homeschooling, but I'm not saying to you, if you're watching this and you feel the same as how I felt, you just have to start homeschooling. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is start to consider ways you can hack your lifestyle to incorporate and embrace your higher order priorities. So for me, my higher order priorities was spending more time with my wife, was spending more time with my children. So how can I do that? Well, I want to get my wife out of her day job. That's one way I wanted to do it. And we achieved that. I wanted to get myself out of my day job, and we achieved that. Now I want to homeschool my children, and we've achieved that. So the point I'm making is move from the first position of prioritization to the second position of starting to life hack. How do you life hack? So I'm going to give you some keys for life hacking, okay? Because I think this will be helpful for every single person who's watching the live. The first thing is you need to plan. Okay, that's just the first thing. You need to plan. I'm being totally transparent. You need to plan. What is your plan to spend more time with your family? What is your plan to spend more time with your wife? Okay, I'm even going to throw in something else because Yogesh alluded to his wife necessarily not always being on board or saying to him that, look, your property business is kind of taking you away from the family. Now, I don't want to say it like this because I don't know the ins and outs of your lifestyle, Yogesh, but for 99% of people I come across, if they weren't working their full-time job and they were self-sufficient from a property income, they wouldn't have their property business as an excuse for why they're not spending time with their family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Because, and I'm not, you know, I shared on the last live stream last week that I know that you're in the medical profession. I know that you're a doctor. you know, and from what I've heard, doctors make great salaries. So I'm not saying this to say leave medicine. That's not the point I'm making. The point I am making is sometimes we're on salaries which are so healthy, no matter how much money we make, we always think we still need the salary. Okay. And the problem with that is someone like your wife, someone who is a loved one, someone who does care about you and potentially maybe wants you out of your job. Okay. But they might not articulate that like that. And I'll give you an example. If you're bringing in 120K a year pre-tax, okay, your spouse might not be able to articulate that that's taking you away from the family, because that's a lot of money, potentially creating a lot of security and other things. I won't go into the other things. But the reality is, for most people, the only reason they feel like that is because they can't conceive how through property you could replace that income. Okay. Now 120K pre-tax is, everybody knows it. That's just 10K a month pre-tax using property. And using property, again, you know, I just even throw this out there: rent to rent. If you're using rent to rent as a strategy, a beginner friendly strategy that rent to rent is, you could be generating £1,000 a month from one property. So 10 properties, the management of 10 properties will not take you however long it takes you to see the amount of patients you see in a month. I can guarantee you that. The management of 10 properties generating £1,000 a month each. And again, that's not everyone's story, but just as an example, will nowhere near take as much time, and this is the valuable asset we're talking about, will nowhere near take you as much time as it takes you to see as many patients as you see in a month. Okay. And when people start seeing things like this, they can start now making an adequate plan. They can start saying, well, look, if I plan this out, hold on a minute, I can make £500 per property doing a strategy which is kind of beginner friendly, not that much cash intensive. If I could have 8 of these properties, that puts me on £4,000 a month. £4,000 a month, that radically changes my life. You know, my current income is £3,000 a month. This gives me an extra £1,000, and I'm only managing 8 properties, for example. Okay. So it's all about planning. First thing, prioritize. Second thing, start to hack. Third thing, plan for your eventualities. Okay. So hopefully that will answer your question, Yogesh, and hopefully that's of help to you.
It does. Can I just clarify what you mean by hack? I got the rest really, really well.
Cool.
The hack bit I didn't get.
Cool.
What do you mean by hack?
All right, powerful. So hacking is kind of like, you know, I don't want to say it's a modern term, but hacking is a term that is going around. It's been going around for quite a while now. As people, and let me even say this before I go further into the answer on this. If you guys are watching this and you're getting value, write the word value in the chat. Let me know that you're getting value from the live stream so far. Okay, I believe that we've dropped some bombs already, but I just want to know from the people watching, okay, because this show isn't about me, it's about you. If you are getting value, write the word value in the chat, and side by side with that, hit the like button. Let the YouTube world know that this is valuable content for you. I'm seeing the likes go up, so I guess that's a sign this is some good stuff. So Yogesh has asked the question. I think you guys can all hear Yogesh right now, but Yogesh has asked the question, what do I mean when I say hack? Okay, now I'm speaking specifically about life hacking, Now, when we talk about hacking, what we're talking about, very similar to a computer. Okay, you've got a computer, this computer's running a particular way. What we want to do is we want to hack into this computer. Now, hacking obviously from computers generally has a negative connotation, but the key to hacking is for you to be able to achieve some kind of outcome by implementing a program or programming that wasn't natively built into this system. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again so you can understand it. The key to hacking, the focus, the fulcrum, the ideology around hacking is very simply implementing a program or programming that the system did not originally or natively have in mind. So what do I mean? Most people natively in their system, due to our educational system, have a particular programming. Their programming is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, I'm going to work. The salary I get on a month-to-month basis is paying for my bills, okay? Now, the problem with that model, I'm going to be very transparent about this. The problem with that model is most people don't have enough month at the end of the money, okay? And I hope you've heard that before so you understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard that before and you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'll say it again. The problem with that model is most people don't have enough month at the end of the money. Okay, Or you could put it the other way. They don't have enough money at the end of the month. Okay. And the reason why is because these people live on a 30-day retainer. Whatever their salary comes in, they usually match the lifestyle to their income. Okay, so as a result, there's no wiggle room, there's no gap, there's no emergency fund. I could go down a whole bunch of financial literacy terms for you to get what I'm talking about. But the point is, that's the conventional model, the conventional programming, and thus the conventional way most people live. Now, when we want a life hack, what we want to do is we want to say, you know what, I know this is my conventional programming. I know the fact that I went to primary school, secondary school, college, university, in my case, university again, in my case, university again, in my case, university again, studying 4 degrees. In my case, I know that I've gone through all of this pre-programming, which has embedded within me that I should live a certain way. And this is the funniest thing for people like me, maybe even people like you, Yogesh, who have got excessive amounts of degrees, because in order for you to be a medical doctor, you have to at least do your 5 years. Now it's getting more years, but usually you're 5 years in uni on some degree courses. Some of them make it 6 years. And then you have to add on your 2 years as a junior SO, your 2 years as a senior SO before you're even a real proper qualified doctor. So that's, we're looking roughly a 9-year stint in university. I think I did roughly the same amount of years to do my 4 degrees now, or my 3 graduate degrees. Now, the reason I bring that up is this: when you get so many degrees, you very quickly understand that those degrees don't really have a proportional impact on your financial balance. Okay, now what do I mean by that? I'm going to break that down. When I got my undergraduate degree, okay, it was a 3-year degree, a BSc in computing and statistics. Okay, now most people said the average salary in the UK is 24k. If you've got a degree in a math related field, you probably get a job around 36k as a base. 36k as a base. Okay, so let's just assume most people with an undergraduate degree in a maths related subjects like statistics, like I had, have a 36,000k income coming their way. All right, we're not talking about 10 years ago when it was very obvious, okay, that nobody's getting jobs regardless of their degrees. We're still in this make-believe world that your degree equals your job. Okay, so I've got a job, I'm on 36k first undergraduate degree. I then go and study my first master's, a master's in statistics at UCL. Now, prestigious university, one of the top 7 universities in the whole world when I studied there. Okay, don't know the stats now because I don't really care, but at that time it was one of the top 10 unis. It was number 7 in the world. Okay, now check this out. I go and study in one of the best unis in the world. I study a master's in statistics. I come out of that, and what should my starting salary be? It should probably be around 45 base. So we've gone from 36 to 45. Okay, a degree I probably paid around 3.5-4 grand for. I now add on 9k a year to my salary. Okay, 9k a year. Just you think about that. 9k a year with 1 degree, which I pay around 4k for. All right. Then I go and study my 3rd degree. My 3rd degree was a postgraduate certificate in education, so I could become a qualified teacher. Studied that in A-level maths and secondary school maths. And then, this is the funniest thing, then this qualifies me to be a maths teacher. If I go and become a maths teacher, starting salary for a maths teacher is 27k. And I don't even think it's changed much since whenever, 10 years ago when I did this. So 27k is actually lower than the 45k my master's in statistics gets me ready for. So I haven't actually really got an increase in that regard. So I want you to bear that in mind. So really, let's say I'm capped at 45 so far. Then I go and study my last degree that I studied, which was my master's in teaching. Okay, and if you become a master teacher, okay, or a lead practitioner, which is what a master's in teaching prepares you for, you might get around 50k as a starting salary. Okay, if you're in a good school, if you're in London waiting, all of the other buzzwords. Okay, now 50k, just look at the progression. I've gone from 36, add 9, okay, to 45. I've got a decrease, but let's ignore that. 45, from 45 to 50. That's a 5k jump. The problem with that is it doesn't work. I can go and get one property, okay, on a rent-to-rent basis, generating £500 a month. That's going to cost me probably about the same amount that I'd have to pay for a degree to study 1 year on a master's level. But that property is going to generate £500 for me every single month. Okay, every single month. And then here's the important part. I have to spend a whole year studying that degree, taking examinations, being told by other people whether I'm good enough. Whereas on that HMO, on that rent-to-rent property, on that one property, I'm the boss. Okay, I set the rules, I set the parameters. And if we go back to the thing that we're really talking about, time, I determine my timetable with that one property, how much hours I put in a week or a month in order to manage it. Yes, some things come out of the blue. Oh, the boiler's blown. Yes, stuff comes out of the blue. But I can guarantee you, even with the stuff that comes out of the blue, if you know what you're doing, the time investment is minimized compared to what most people are going through in order to get an extra 5 grand on their salary a year. Now, you know, most people watching this, just think about the last pay increase you got at your job. Okay, because I can guarantee you your last pay increase probably was not in the region of 10 grand, 20 grand. Okay, but one property can add 10 grand to you a year. Okay, one property generating £1,000 a month, that's a 12 grand increase. That's a pay rise for acquiring one new asset. Okay, and again, using rent to rent, a beginner friendly strategy, for example, we're not talking about an excessively financial high investment. So again, this is where the world is has gone a bit crazy, because some things are obvious, but we still don't act like they're obvious. We still act like they're mystic or they're hidden. So guys, like I said, if you're getting value from this, hit the like button. Tell YouTube that this is the kind of content YouTube needs all over it. Okay, hit the like button so that you can do that, and write the word value in the chat so I know that you guys are getting value from this session. All right, so Yogesh, how was that? Was that helpful for you in terms of you understanding a bit more about hacking and how you can reprogram your mind and not just follow the program that you have been given by the education system or maybe by your experiences, if that makes sense?
Yeah, you explained it really well. I mean, it makes perfect sense when you explain it, so it was amazing.
Powerful.
Yeah, really
And one of the things I'm going to say to you, Yogesh, before you go as well, is I want you to understand, Yogesh, just from the little I know of you, from our engagements, etc., at presentations, and obviously you calling in, you know, quite regularly on the lives. I know, Yogesh, that you are probably one of the. Let me put it this way: you're very primed to be able to hack your life quite easily. Okay, you're one of the people who I know can do it. And the reason I'm saying this again, it's not to inflate your chest or to make you feel big. It's because of something very simple. I remember a long time ago speaking to you and you making a statement to me. You basically said to me, look, there are people in my family who I don't want to know that I'm doing property, because how they would see it, how they would perceive it, all of those things. And let me tell you this, Yogesh, since you said that to me, that stuck with me. The reason it stuck with me is because what that means is what you are doing by being invested in property is very different to the voices of the people around you. And just that alone shows me, tells me, allows me to understand that Yogesh knows how to hack himself. He knows how to hack his life. He knows how to do something which other people would say, what are you doing that for? That's not normal. Yeah, it's not normal, but it's right. It's not normal, but it's what you should be doing. But I'm not going to tell you should be doing it. I'm just going to do such a great job of it. You're going to know you should be doing it when you see me continue to do what I'm doing. So hopefully that helps, Yogesh.
You've got a really good memory. Well, yes, that's right. But I'm changing, so you're right too.
Good.
I am changing.
Good. Powerful.
Yeah.
Look, Yogesh, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for calling in, and just keep getting value. You know, whether it's calling in, whatever it is, keep getting value. Okay, we're always here to serve the community. So great having you.
Are you doing this regularly at this time, or is it all changeable? Just
the thing is, we're supposed to be hitting 6 o'clock on the Saturday every single week, but again, obviously, priorities, you know, family comes first. So when we do move it around, usually it's because I've got other commitments with my family and I want to make sure that I do that. I will still make sure the life happens, but you know, like I've done in the past, we might make it a bit later, a bit earlier in the day, just so I can make sure that I keep my priorities as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Most welcome,
it.
Yogesh. Appreciate you too. All right, guys. So hopefully you are able to get value from Yogesh's question and hear exactly what Yogesh asked. I know that it seemed as though everybody was able to hear Yogesh, so that's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, you know what? Jam-packed question. And I think these are the kind of questions that you generally need, because these kind of questions help you understand exactly what is going on in the property climate. So let's have a quick look at some of the comments we've got here. Great question, Yogesh. We got hands up. We got another caller coming through. Could the caller just please be patient with us? We've got value. Excellent. So I can see a lot of people are getting value from the show today. So guys, you know what? This is what we do. We're here for you. We're here to add value. So stay tuned. We've got another caller. Let's take this second caller and then we'll look to share some of the recent news in the property space as well. Hello, good evening. Caller 999.
Hey there, Samuel. It's Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Enjoying your live at the moment. I thought I'd just jump in because I've got some really good I've got some questions.
Excellent, excellent. So, hopefully you guys can hear Andrew. Andrew has said he has a question. Again, like I said, guys, if you're getting value from the show, feel free to write the word value in the chat. So, Andrew, how can we help you?
Yes, so you remember during a couple of weeks ago, I jumped on the call, asked you a couple of questions and how to, utilize my time. And I've actually been very privileged and blessed because I've obviously taken on 2 new people from the Philippines to help run my property business. And so I'm just looking for your tips on how to maximize, my time to ensure that my staff are fulfilled with, tasks and things to do to run the business, and how can I look over it.
Excellent, excellent. So effectively, guys, if you're hearing Andrew's question, Andrew's effectively asking, and again, Andrew referenced the fact that he called a few weeks ago. He's basically asking, he's recently taken on a few new people who have flown in from the Philippines in order to be a part of his property business. And he's basically asking, how does he get his business to a place where he can start looking over the business rather than being stuck in the business? Is that a good summary, Andrew?
Yeah, that's definitely it. That's very accurate, yeah.
All right, cool. So look, I'm just going to say one word and I'm going to say it 3 times, okay? And the reason why is because that's how much you need to emphasize this in your mind in order to be successful with this thing. And what that is systems, okay? The key to being able to leverage, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about how do I leverage the assets I have in terms of other people in order for my business to become more successful without me having to be burdened, to have this big yoke on my back of the stress of the work or the stress of the engagement, etc., etc. And the key to this is systems, and nothing else. It's all about systems. Now, one of the greatest ways for you to basically learn systems is by working with people who already have those systems in place. So again, I spoke to Yogesh much about some of the coaching clients I have. That's one of the reasons people look for a coach, because they say to themselves, well, look, if I'm working with Samuel, I'll be able to look over his shoulder, see the kind of systems he has in place, see if they can fit with me. If they don't fit with me, I can ask him, Samuel, what can I do to that system so that system becomes more user friendly for me, etc., etc. So the key for you, Andrew, is basically the development and utilization of systems. Now, what kind of systems could be helpful? The first thing I'm going to talk about is manuals, okay? Manuals, having actual operations manuals. How do each and every one of the new people, the new assets you've brought on board in terms of your team, how do they engage with clients? How do they engage with customers? How do they engage with the marketplace in terms of looking for new property assets? If their job, for example, is acquisitions, how do they speak to the particular landlords that they're going to go out there and meet in order to acquire those properties? And the problem with most entrepreneurs, again, especially in the property space, is we go out doing this stuff on our own and we never systemize it. We never understand what's the system. Look, this will hopefully be of help. I think I've showed this on one of the live streams before. So let me go totally in, because this will be extremely helpful to a lot of you guys. Do I have permission, guys, to go in? Do I have permission? Let me know in the comments. Permission to go in, yes or no? Just let me know. Write the word yes or no. Andrew as well, you're on the call. Let me know. Permission to go in. Do I have your permission?
Yes, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
All right. So Andrew says, yes, please go ahead. Those of you in the chat, we'll see in a moment what you guys are saying. As you can see, I'm just pulling documents out of here because I want you guys to get exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So one of the biggest issues I had starting up my property business is I didn't have anyone to go to and say, look, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? How do I do that? Look, I'm going to be so transparent. I jumped on courses. I jumped on expensive courses. I jumped on cheap courses. Okay. I jumped on a whole bunch of courses. And what I realized was something really simple. I realized something I actually teach now. Okay. I realized that there's a difference between mentoring, coaching, and teaching. Okay. There's a massive difference between mentoring, coaching, and teaching. So I'm going to break this down. And this is the reason I coach. This is the reason I don't teach. And this is the reason why I don't really mentor either. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I'll break it down and you guys will get it for yourself. Teaching is what I used to do when I worked in a school. Teaching is what a whole bunch of property people do. And in my opinion, it's the least value to the participants, to the people that sit in those chairs. That's why I don't believe the current school system works, because they use the teaching model. What is the teaching model? The teaching model is a guy stands up at the front with a whiteboard. Okay, got my whiteboard here as usual, people know. A guy stands up at the front with a whiteboard and tells you, this is how you do this, this is how you do that, this is how you could do this, this is how you could do that. You know the funniest thing, go to most schools, okay, and the same applies to property, same applies to everything, but you won't know until you start seeing the mindset shift. Go to most schools and ask the science teacher, has he ever been a chemist? Ask the other science teacher, have they ever been really a biologist? Ask the maths teacher, have they ever really, solved these quantum physics equations in real life? And 9 times out of 10, what you'll hear is no. Most people who teach have not actively been active in terms of that arena. All it is they have the knowledge, they've read the book, they've got the degree, the qualification, the certificate, and as a byproduct, they now teach. Okay. Now, this is part of the problem with teaching, because there's a lack of experience a lot of the time in the teaching. It's not real, it's not relative. So when you ask a curveball question, the teacher can't help you. Or the teacher has to say, oh, well, we'll come on to that in next lesson, rather than them being able to adapt and be malleable and be flexible and say to you, no, look, from my experience, this happened, or I haven't had that experience before, but from this experience, I can tell you this is the case. Okay, so this is the issue for me with a lot of people in the whole property space, the fact that there's a lot of teaching going on. Second thing, mentoring. We'll go on to mentoring before we go on to coaching. Mentoring is very rare in the property space in the UK. Now, when I say mentoring, what am I talking about? Most people think they're going to get mentoring when they sign up for a course, especially when that course is more than 10 grand. Oh, this is a mentoring program. Listen, let me tell you what mentoring is. Dictionary definition will help you as well. Mentoring is usually what an uncle does for you, okay? And this is how you can tell if you're being mentored in the property space. Are you paying 50K plus? Okay, I'm going to put it that simple. If you're not paying 50K plus, I can guarantee you something. You're not being mentored, not for a significant amount of time, maybe for a day, maybe for 2 days, not being mentored for a significant amount of time. Why do I say this? And what do I mean by this? Listen, an uncle who spots potential in a niece or a nephew and says, you know what, this person could be the next Trump. I'm in property. I do development. I want this young lady to be a powerhouse when it comes to property. I'm going to take her under my wing. What does the uncle do? He calls her 6 a.m. in the morning. Listen, Siobhan, how you doing today? Yeah, it's Uncle Samuel. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick you up tomorrow at 9 a.m. We've got 2 estate agent meetings. We've got 4 meetings with investors. And straight after that, I'm then going to do a site visit to our recent development. I go and do that with Siobhan periodically, whether it's weekly, daily, monthly. That is mentoring. Mentoring is showing the truth of the scenario. Now, the last one is coaching. Now, what's coaching? Coaching is helping individuals bring out the value that's already in them and supplementing that with the value you have, which they haven't yet attained. Why is it important for Andrew to understand these 3 models in terms of what he's asked? Very simple. This is why. You need to decide, Andrew, what you're going to do with your new staff. Are you going to coach them? Are you going to mentor them, or are you going to teach them? And I've already shared with you, in my opinion, the one that's worthless, okay, and the 2 that are of value, but the problem with one of them. The problem with mentoring is if someone hasn't got an affinity to you, if they're not your family, if they're not someone who's naturally inclined to do this for you out of the love and kindness of their heart and the fact they know that you can become something special with their skills that they have, they're going to charge you what it's worth. And I can guarantee you, I'll give you an example. 2017, I bought a property valued at 240K in London. I paid 136,000 for that property. That's 100,000K discount. So if I was mentoring someone and I knew in any year I could do a deal like that, just one deal like that, what do you think I'm charging for mentoring? Guys, I'll tell you now, I'm charging 100 grand, charging 100 grand or more. Okay, why am I charging 100 grand or more? Because just one of the deals I'm going to do in a year are going to net me 100K. So if I can add 100K to myself with one deal, okay, my net value, I think that's what it's called, my net worth, thank you. My net worth goes up by 100K with one deal. So how could I charge less than 100K to mentor someone? Okay, so that's what I want you to understand. Coaching, mentoring, teaching. Choose the model, and that's what you're going to deliver to your guys. That's first. Now let's go into this stuff. You guys have given me permission to over deliver, I believe. And if you didn't get the over delivery just now, I don't know what you need. Okay, I've got go in from Earl. I've got Tolu who said yes, go for it. I've got also who says yes, totally. I've got double value out here. And I've also got Andrew who said go for it. So let's go for it. Listen to this, guys. Okay, hope you get this. Like I said, when I started in property, yes, I went on courses. Yes, I had coaches. Yes, I got taught stuff, but I never had a mentor. Okay, and because I never had a proper mentor who could really show me the ropes, I had to create a whole bunch of stuff myself. And I'm a system person. So because I'm a systems person, a numbers person, I have to make things methodical. And when I make them methodical, the great thing about that is I can then share them with other people. So obviously my coaching clients get the benefit of this all the time. So the first thing I'm going to share with you guys is one of my pro formas. This is my calling pro forma. So what that means is anytime someone calls our organization or anytime we call a client, we go through this pro forma. Now, why don't we have a script? We don't have a script because people are different. Okay, people are different, and I don't want to force my team to have to follow a script. But I use the pro forma so people can bring their own self to the activity, to the engagement. But even though they bring their own self, their own character, their own way of doing things, they follow our framework. And I'm very big on framework. So this is it, okay? You should be able to see it if I put it here, okay? Now, all this has is our business logo. The first thing it says here is our philosophy. And I've shared this before. Our philosophy in our business is think, feel, speak. How can I help you? Every caller that's called today, what is my first question to them? How can I help you? Why? Because even in our coaching business, in our value giving, in everything we do in our business, how can I help you is our philosophy. That's how we have to think, feel, and speak. It says it right up here. Think, feel, speak. How can I help you? Then it says name, okay? So if we're calling a client, someone who wants to sell their house with speed or rent their house with speed, we first want to find out their name. We then want to find out what's the best number to contact them on. We then want to find out when is usually the best time to call them on their mobile, okay? And we say specifically on their mobile. So if they didn't give us their mobile number, we've now got their mobile number. Then it says property. First section is property because it's a property business. And that question, if you can't see it, it says, tell me about the property, please. Because the first thing I need to know is about the property. And it's just open. I just want to write as much as possible about the property. Then we've got a few prompts at the bottom. Again, won't go into them too much. We've got a few prompts. But then after the property, the most important thing for me in my property business is the person. I don't care about the property. I care about the person. If I can help the person, again, that's my philosophy. How can I help you? If I can help the person, then we're going to have a great business and make money from property. If I can't help the person, I don't even want to know about the property. So straight after finding out about the property, what's the next thing it says here? It says predicament. I want to know what's that person's predicament. And the question here is, tell me about the situation, please. Why are you trying to sell your house with speed? Now I'm going to go on to something in a minute that's going to help you guys. Straight after that, we have a few other prompts. Then we have lastly the financials. Okay, it says right here financials, and it says if the caller desires to sell, go into the financials. Then again, the buzzword or the key question here is tell me about the numbers on the property, please. Okay. Now at the bottom, again, another prompt. Could we agree to speak at a time again once I've done a little bit more research? So again, this document is a bit more comprehensive than I've shared, but I've given you the kind of key things. Now, what do I usually have for everyone on my team and for myself straight after that pro forma? I'm going to show you. Okay. It says there's a few prompts here on this document about what we do when we're in person with the person. And then there's a few prompts about what we actually offer. And then at the bottom, it says core cases. Now, if you guys want me to read this stuff out, let me know and I'll read out to you that whole document. It's not a long read, but it will help you get a gist of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Now, if I've got a new team member, like Andrew's saying he's got a new team member, I want to support my new team member. I would use the coaching model personally. That's what I do. I believe in it. That's why I coach. And that's also why I coach my staff and my team. But the key to that is having resources that can help your client as well or help your staff member as well. So what's one of the resources we have? Again, you guys said I can go in. This is why I'm going in. All right. Right here, I'll share this with you, is a question prompt sheet. Okay. It's a question prompt sheet. Now, why do we have a question prompt sheet? We have a question prompt sheet for a very simple reason, because if you're doing this stuff for the first time, you're engaging with clients for the first time, you don't know what to ask them necessarily. So if you don't know what to ask them, your coach or your employer or your friend who you've come to help in the business is going to help you by giving you this support. So I'll run through some of these questions. If you guys want me to run through some of these questions, let me know in the chat. I'll run through some of these questions. Again, guys, this is about you guys. It's not about me. So if you don't want me to run through, I won't run through. I'll say and read on, okay, but we'll jump in a moment. So I'll come back to that document in a moment. So here, we've got the first three questions. Same three questions I spoke about earlier. Okay, your name, what's the best number to contact you on, when is usually the best time to call you on your mobile. Bam. Then when we've got the property section, like I said, on this sheet, it's a pro forma. 9 times out of 10, when I deal with clients, I don't use the prompt sheet because I don't need it. I'll just use the pro forma to fill it out. But if I've got a team member who I'm bringing on and trying to help explain what to do, I'll give them the prompt sheet and say, look, ask these questions. When you get stuck, ask these questions. Let me read some of these questions to you. I'm just going to read 5 out of each section. First section on property. Again, it says at the top, tell me about the property, please. But here's a question. What type of property is it? Terrace, semi-detached, detached, other. Another question, full address and postcode of the property. I'll jump to the middle. Who legally owns the property? I'll jump to the bottom. What do you believe the property is worth? Okay. Also, additional question, why do you believe it is this value? So these are a few questions on the property prompt sheet. Then we've got the predicament prompt sheet. I'll read 2 questions out of here. The predicament prompt sheet, it says, is the property listed with an estate agent? Are you working within or towards a specific time frame? These are some of the questions we would ask the person to understand their situation, their needs, what they're going through. Some of the financial questions. What is the approximate, apologies, I have to read the first question to get to that one. Is there an outstanding mortgage on the property? What is the approximate amount, okay, of the outstanding mortgage? So again, this is one of my prompt sheets that I would give to a team member and say, look, if you don't know what questions to ask, these are the kind of questions you can ask. Obviously, because I'm a coach, I'll shadow them. We'll do calls together, etc. I could break down the whole framework. Now, because Earl said read on, I'm going back to my other pro forma, the sheet that comes behind the pro forma, and I'm going to read that to you. Okay, here we go. In person, it says, have you considered a sell with a creative approach? Okay, that's one of the first questions that we want to ask people in person. What's the lowest price that you would accept and would be still happy with? Okay, this is a question I got from Simon Zucci. Andrew, you know that because you've done the mastermind program, or you're currently on the mastermind program, which is a program I did a number of years ago. And that's one of the questions Simon encourages property investors to ask their potential clients. What is the lowest price you would take and still be happy with? So that's a question I took from Simon and I embedded it onto my pro forma. Now here I've written what we offer. Okay, what does our business offer the clients? We offer quick decision-making process. We offer the fact that we can pay up to 100% of the value of your property, possibly more depending on the terms. We offer fast completion to suit you as a seller. We offer no estate agent fees for you to pay. We offer no additional costs. And I could go down and go down. There's about 10 of them. Then core cases. What are the core cases we deal with? We deal with divorces. We deal with financial difficulties, repossessions, bereavements, probate, migration, relocation, broken chains. I could go down that list as well. Now, why do I have all of this stuff on documents? Not because I need it. Not because every time I'm dealing with a seller, I think, oh, what do I ask now? No, because I'm not there. I started studying creative property investing in 2005. I'm good with the questions, but I've got team that I need to onboard. So it goes back to the key that I said to you 3 times, Andrew, systems. These performers are created so our organization has systems. So when we bring people on board, we can show them very quickly, this is what we do, this is why we do it, this is how we do it, and this is how you can do it. Now, last document I'm going to give you guys, again, just because you said go in, I'm going in a little bit more, is my property due diligence document. Now, this document basically is a pro forma that every time I go through a house, it's basically just like a spreadsheet. It has certain questions on it. I'm just filling it out. All I've got to do when I go in on a viewing is fill out that document and build rapport. Okay, and guys, some of you can see it right at the bottom of the screen, our sourcing blueprint. Okay, get your free ebook right here. Go to that link, www.sourcingblueprint.com. If you have not read the sourcing blueprint, go get the sourcing blueprint. Why am I encouraging you to get the sourcing blueprint? Because in that ebook, I break down the 4 key core areas that you need to understand in order to source properties. And all of the things I've shared with you just now in terms of those pro formas for Andrew to understand a bit more about how you can leverage systems are basically essential to the 4 core areas in the sourcing blueprint. So Andrew, I hope that helps you in terms of thinking about how to get these guys up to speed, how to support them, how to push them forward, and how to not only get them working for you, because for most people that's what it's about. Oh, I want my staff working for me. No. It's also about how you as an employer, as a coach, as a friend to these people can add value to them as well. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And also, as you said as well, the way I also see it is they don't work for me, they work with me.
Powerful.
They're actually my childhood friends, so they have they're very close to my heart. And so I just wanted to give you an opportunity, and I know, them helping me, and I can really help them all at the same time. It's about giving,
Powerful.
as much as taking as well. So that's where we are. So
Powerful.
Thank you so much, Samuel.
Most welcome, most welcome. I love that. I love some of the stuff that Andrew was saying as well, just before the call ended about, it's about giving. And you know what? You need to be a person who knows how to give, wants to give, and should give, because that's going to open up the doors. It's going to open up the doors for you to be able to move forward and for you to get more so that you can give more also. Now, what I want to do just real quickly, we'll jump out of the chat just for a moment. I want to share with you guys just a little bit of news, because I can see the time is really, really fast spent. We've been sharing throughout this throughout this session, which has been really, really phenomenal. So what I want to do is I want to share with you guys, if I can get it up. Yes, it's here. Beautiful. Okay, this is an article that was recently released. Hopefully you guys can see it. This comes from Mortgage Solutions. Now, this is a real key insight. So guys, please keep your ears open to understand what's going on here, because if you don't understand what's going on here, I can guarantee you your property business will be affected. So before I jump into this article, like I said before, hit the like button, let YouTube know that this is some great content. If you're getting value, feel free to write the word value in the chat. Now, the reason this is important, first and foremost, is because 9 times out of 10, you will never see this website. And not only will you never see this website, you will never see this kind of an article. And I'm going to explain to you why you'll never see this website, why you'll never see this article, and why the information in it is so pertinent. This website is the mortgagesolutions.co.uk website. It's a website created for mortgage lenders and intermediaries. So by intermediaries, we're talking about brokers, the guys who arrange your finance for you to buy property. So this is really, really important for most people who are watching this, who are interested in investing in property. Now, again, the header says it, Mortgage Solutions committed to mortgage intermediaries. Now, here's an article that was released on the 22nd of July. This is 3 days ago. All right. And this article, the heading of the article says, landlords with bounce back loans denied new mortgage finance. I hope you understand this, guys. Please hear this out. Landlords with bounce back loans are denied new mortgage finance. Now, a couple of weeks ago, one of the things I shared on the live show is that people who are taking mortgage holidays are going to be penalized through means of their new applications for mortgages. So if you decided to take a mortgage holiday and say, you know what, I'm not going to pay my mortgage for the next 3 months just because the bank said I could, when you go to buy your next property as an investor, which will be quite important for you, they're going to say, well, hold on a minute, you had financial issues that was so deep you couldn't pay for 3 months of your mortgage. So as a direct byproduct, we're not going to be easily lending you money. Now the same thing is actually happening. And again, this is an article going to mortgage brokers. So the general public, you, me, investors typically would not be privy to this information. How am I privy to this information? Because as many of you guys know, I work with a panel of brokers, and it was one of the brokers that I work with who sent me this article and said, Samuel, you need to read this. You should probably talk about this on your show because it's quite important for investors. And it says landlords with bounce back loans are actually being denied new mortgage finance. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of the article and then we'll jump into the last bits of value before we round up the show tonight. It says landlords who took out a government bounce back loan are reporting issues securing new mortgage finance on rental properties. It goes on to say property investors took to the Landlord Forum Property Tribes to express their concerns. Landlords reported rejected mortgage applications by TMW, which is the Mortgage Works, and Paragon because a bounce back loan had been taken out. One landlord is so concerned the loan will affect his ability to obtain a future mortgage, he is considering paying the sum back. Please hear this, because the bounce back loans were from as small as $2,500 to as much as £50,000. And because they were not income assessed, they weren't really assessed in any way, shape or form, many people took the max. Many people took 50,000. I know some people who had multiple businesses and took a 50,000 on each business. Just saying, okay? Just saying, so you guys can understand how deep this is. It goes, considering to pay the sum back, having taken it as a precautionary measure. Now, look, even if you listen to that language, you start to understand exactly what I'm talking about. This particular individual is thinking of paying it back because they took it as a precautionary measure. Who goes and borrows 50,000? Again, I'm not saying this person borrowed 50,000. I'm not talking to this person, but I'm saying who goes and borrows and a certain amount of money as a precautionary measure who doesn't need it. Okay, that's probably someone who's being a bit of an opportunist. Oh, that's free money, 50,000. I can pull that out. I can potentially use that to buy another property. Then they find out, oh, you know what? It's actually having negative effects. Let me give it back. Think about this, guys, because when people go and money grab, they don't think about the added value or the precautionary aspects later on. It goes here. Banks say that if a landlord has applied for the government loan, it is evidence that their business is struggling. Please understand that, okay? The current response from most lenders is that they will make a decision about whether to lend on a case-by-case basis. Where there is evidence of a bounce-back loan, underwriters will dig deeper into the borrower's circumstances to make sure they are financially stable enough to take on more finance, and so on and so on and so on. Now, if you guys would like me to share this link with you, let me know. I will throw it in the chat so you guys can actually go and read the whole article yourself. But why is this important? This is important because there's property trainers out there. There are people out there who are encouraging people, telling people, go take the bounce back loan so you've got some money, so you can do this, so you can do that, so you maybe can invest in property. Guys, let me tell you this, beware. Okay, beware of the charlatans, beware of the people who are out here who are not necessarily out here for your good. Okay, because this stuff can get dangerous. If you decide to go borrow 50,000 just because it's there, just because you can get it. For some people, they've never seen 50,000 in one account. So because of them, they're going to run for it. They're going to run to grab the 50,000. But please beware, you may be stifling your ability to actually invest further in property if you choose to do so. If you've got value from this so far, guys, what I want you to do is hit the like button. Let the YouTube world know that you are getting value. I know a whole bunch of people are getting value from this. So again, right inside of the chat, I'm getting value as well, so more people can see exactly what the value is all about. Now, if you haven't, spoke about this a moment ago, if you haven't already gone and got this, go and get yourself a copy of the Sourcing Blueprint. It's our free ebook. It's absolutely free. Costs you nothing except for your time to read it. And like I say, with most of the resources I create, most of the value I give, just make sure you use it. That's the key for me. As long as you use it, I'm happy. If you don't use it, then there's no point in you going to get it. But guys, if you're one of those people who are a serial action taker, you know you're going to take action, you know if you only knew the information, you'd be making it happen, go get the information, go get the Sourcing Blueprint. It is going to help you. It's going to help you move forward. It's going to help you become exactly what you need to become and to do exactly what you need to do on your property journey. Now, with all of that being said, what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to jump into the comments, see if there are any other questions before we jump off from the show tonight. I know you guys are getting value. I'm looking forward to not only seeing the progress in terms of your property journeys as individuals, but also seeing how you guys move forward, helping other people in their property journey also. All right, guys. And again, you know, I've said it earlier on, I'm going to say it again, whole bunch of gratitude to the over 200 subscribers that have become a part of the Impact Show and have become a part of our environment, have become a part of what we're doing online. Guys, if you haven't hit subscribe, become a part of the movement. Now, just jumping into the chat. Okay, I've got going from Earl. I've got yes, go for it. Yes, totally. Read on. Thank you ever so much, guys, for the encouragement. All right, so I've got Earl saying here, thank you for sharing. I've got a couple questions here. So the first one is from Yogesh. Any websites or tools to work out your personal values and priorities to then enable you to do the planning required afterwards? What I would say to you, Yogesh, again, this isn't a plug. This isn't a sell. This isn't a pitch. This is just me keeping it real. Go get one of our coaching calls. Book a coaching call. Excuse me, book a coaching call, have a coaching session with myself or one of the coaches on my team and allow us to help you move forward. I would encourage you to go and book the coaching session. I think that's really what you're going to need to do in order to get the value that you're looking for in that regard. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd say in that regard. I think that's going to really be the answer for you. Now, if anybody would like me to share the link for them to be able to book a coaching session with me and or my team, feel free to let me know and I will throw that into the chat for you guys to be able to book a coaching and or a strategy call to help you strategize through your situation and help you start the journey of getting your spouse or maybe yourself out of your day job and start to live the life you want to lead. So that's the first question. Second question, Yogesh says, I'm going to promote your channel to everyone to watch. Just hit share, Yogesh, man. Every time you're on the channel, every time you're watching and you're getting value, hit the share button. I think it was on one of the tickers before. Hit share, you know, hit share it in WhatsApp, share it in Facebook, share it in YouTube. Just let the world know that you're getting value. Yogesh said, I'm going to promote your channel to everyone to watch. Yogesh said, please share the link. So here's the link for the strategy calls for anyone who wants to book that. It says, I'm going to promote your channel to everyone to watch. It is so relevant and can help you make huge changes if you implement and listen to the advice. I totally agree, Yogesh. This is why we do it. And this is why I said I'm going to do this instead of answer 100 questions from 100 people. All right. Mr. Osai Kimwin says, it's helpful if we don't get staffing right. Wrong things happen. That is so true. Thank you for your comment, guys. Please take heed to that, okay? Because, you know, some people, and I'm going to say this because I think the people who are viewing today are mature enough to allow me to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be transparent, guys. I hope you get value from this, as I'm going to be just very transparent about this. Lots of people think it may be expensive to hire a virtual assistant, or to hire a property coach, or to hire, new people to come and work in your business as staff, as Andrew was talking about when he called in earlier. Let me tell you something. It is more expensive to not hire those people. I can guarantee you that it is way more expensive to not hire those people. Because when you don't hire those two people who are doing what you could be doing, you don't free yourself up to go and work on the more priority-based tasks. You don't free yourself up to be able to spend time with your family, your children, etc. So again, thank you ever so much for that statement. I really agree with that. All right, Yogesh said here, yes, you are right about mortgage holidays, and I had a problem getting a remortgage, so I stopped them all now. I should have listened to you. It's okay, Yogesh. It's okay, because this show, this video, these interactions, these engagements, my coaching is not about spanking someone with a rod. It's not about, oh, you made a mistake, you should have listened to me. Like, look, guys, I'm going to be totally transparent. If you listen to me or not, I can guarantee you one thing. I'm listening to me. So even if in the next 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, 12 years, you don't get the results you could have got in the next 12 months, you don't get the results you could have got. I'm not trying to show off, but I want you to know I'm going to have those results. So as long as you keep watching me, what's going to happen is I'm going to show you the product of what I'm trying to advise you and coach you to do. Now, if you don't want to take that advice, if you for some reason, you're more knowledgeable or you understand more, that's okay. There's no hard feelings. There's no negativity. I've had coaching clients. I've advised them to do things. They haven't done it. It's okay. Okay. I don't take it personally because I've got the right mindset. Okay. But the reason I'm sharing this stuff is because from experience, from study, from watching the right markets, not the wrong markets, from changing the mindset, not just focusing on money, I've learned what works. And this is why I share it with other people. So, Yogesh, I just want to say thank you for being that transparent and sharing from the heart the reality that, I did give some advice. You didn't take the advice. And, you're also seeing that it hasn't worked fruitfully in that regard. Cool. So Yogesh has said he's also in the process of applying for bounce back loans. Maybe he should rethink that one. I think you should rethink. If you don't need the money, don't take the money. And look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I only really coach my 12-month coaching clients around this because they're really the only people that get to spend enough time to get to this level talking about this with me. But I'm going to share something with you really transparent. If you're doing well enough in your property business, there are human beings who will give you 50K, invest 50K with you. And maybe it's a bit tongue in cheek, but I'm going to keep it real, with better terms than the bounce back loan. And as a result, you wouldn't be enticed by bounce back loans. Guys, I'm going to tell you, this is the reality of my business. I have investors who are investing their funds with me so often that their bounce back loan became less enticing when it was being advertised. And yes, I use that word specifically, advertised. When the government's saying, look, if you're a business, come and take my 50K, I'm thinking to myself, well, I got people offering me 100 grand to go and do property deals with their money and give them an interest rate return. I'd prefer to take their money than the bank's money and the government's money. Why? Because I'm all about social development. If I take their money, I'm giving them a 5% return, them a 4% return. Why would I take the government's money, who nobody benefits from? Okay, in my opinion, let me say that, because some people are going to be like, oh no, it's not actually about that. It's actually about other stuff. The government are providing the schools, providing the hospitals. Yes, they're providing the schools. Yes, they're providing the hospitals. But guys, let me just be very transparent with you. You could provide schools. You could provide hospitals if you got your act together and was making enough secure wealth to change things. And it starts with you and your family. It starts with you, your wife, your spouse, etc., whatever you're trying to build. Now, I've got a great question in here from one of the admins. How does one become one of our coaching clients? First thing I would advise you to do, go and become a member of the webinar, the upcoming webinar on Monday. Be a participant on the webinar. From hearing about the webinar, you'll then be able to take appropriate steps to email us or participate through the webinar in becoming a coaching client. So thank you to the admin team for throwing that in there. Now, with all of that being said, this kind of brings us to the end of tonight's show. And I just want to encourage you to do 2 things, okay? Not 1,000 things, not 500 things, 2 things. If you haven't already, go to the link right there, www.sourcingblueprint.com. Get yourself the ebook. It's absolutely free. Go read that ebook. It's not a long read. It's a simple, concise ebook created to help you. That's why we created it, to help you move forward in your property sourcing activity. And side by side with that, just as the admin have said, go and check out the online webinar. You can go to www.impactproperties.co.uk/webinar. Our next upcoming webinar is on Monday, the 27th. I believe it's at 8 p.m. And on that webinar, you are going to be able to find out how you can take advantage of property opportunities in the current climate. Register for the webinar, be a part of the movement, help your family change your game. Samuel, I Can Win. I'm signing out. Arrivederci. It's been a pleasure, guys.